Shalom everyone and Shavua Tov. We are now in Parashat VaYak'hel-Pekudei, the last two parashot of the book of Exodus, the book of Shemot, are being read. We're completing this week the book of Shemot. However, these two parashot are very, very weird. Why? Because Parashat VaYak'hel-Pekudei, VaYak'hel is a repetition, almost to the word, to the letter, of Parashat Truma, and Tetzaveh is almost totally a copy of Parashat Tetzaveh, a Parashat Pekudei of Tetzaveh. So why do we have that repetition? That's one question. Now, the other question is, if you go, because it is a repetition, you cannot find too much commentary on these two parashot because everything was already done in the previous in Truma and Tetzaveh, that we read them. Last week was Kitisa, but before that was Truma and Tetzaveh. However, if you go to the Zohar, I just counted in the Zohar for Sulam, there are almost 500 pages covering these two parashot. Okay? So in order to understand that, we have to get the background. As we said, the whole book of Shemot is about what should be a human consciousness. What should a person be at? Becoming a free, successful human being. It's all about the way we perceive the Creator. Okay? And that's why the book is called the book of Shemot, the book of names, because by the name you give to something, you express your emotional or logical, whatever perception you have, your belief system about that name or about that issue. This is crucial because Parashat Shemot is beginning with the names of Hashem, and we have different ways to perceive them. We explained that the more free the person is, which means the more free the person is from negativity, his ability is getting bigger to understand how great is the Creator, how infinite He is, and how His love is impossible to change, His love to each one of His creatures. Now, the moment we tap into that place, and we really understand, we really feel, as I said in previous weeks, we really can feel the presence of the Creator with us every split second, for sure, that will have an immediate effect on the way we feel, talk, think, speak, behave, decide, everything. Everything we do will be totally different. Why? Because of what we said. Our perception is of the great light as we understand, and that's what the whole thing is about. And od milvado, there's nothing but the Creator. It's only the Creator. The only thing that is not the Creator is our desire to receive, which is, this is what matter is about, because the Creator does not have desire to receive. Who can He receive from? So, we explained it before, but that desire to receive is what's holding our lives together. You know, a person who has no desire whatsoever for anything, he will lose his health, money, friends, family, nothing. Because in order to maintain and to keep anything you call is your life, you need to have a desire for it. The moment you stop wanting it, you're losing it. But here, so we are talking about, so where is it coming from? From the Creator. How much is the Creator giving and sharing with us? Endless. When we understand that, we are in the right place in that game which is called life. Okay? Now, so we learn how to become free. How to set ourselves free from thinking there's a Creator that is up there and is making accounting and is looking to get me and I have to go around with guilt. There's nothing like this. It's a slave mentality, and the book of Exodus is about getting out of that slavery, getting to a place that we're really free to love, enjoy, and be happy. Now, but then we come to Mount Sinai. There's an amazing experience. The whole nation, 3 million people, experience the light of the Creator unconditionally, without any veil. Everything is so amazing. The whole nation is experiencing out-of-body experience. And it continues into Parashat Mishpatim, realizing all the rules are just to help us get to our purpose, being complete and connected. And then it gets us into Parashat Terumah and Tetzaveh, which basically anoints each one of us to be the high priest or priestess and the king or queen of their own lives. That's Parashat Tetzaveh and Parashat Terumah and Tetzaveh, about building the tabernacle. Then comes Parashat Kitisa that gives us like repetition from previous parashot, but it's all about how to overcome falling. Why? Great people fall. Whoever denies falling is not getting into greatness. Why? Because we're people and people make mistakes. So we covered it last week. And then comes the fall of the golden calf. And the fall of the golden calf is exactly there because to show free people, they also know how to fall. If a person says, and I said it so many times, I never made a mistake, I never fell, I never crashed, he will be lying about other things too. Why? It says simply, Sheva ipol tzadik vekam. King Solomon in Proverbs, a righteous will fall 7 times and get up. It's all about, not about the falling. The falling is a given. It's part of being humans. It's about the getting up. If you're ready for it, you'll get up. So here, that was Parashat Kitisa. So why Parashat VaYak'hel-Pekudei? They are right now, they are being said the day after Moses comes from the mount the second time. Okay? Story again. Exodus is on Pesach. 15 of Nisan, which is the full moon on the month of Aries. Springtime. Okay, that's the Exodus. 50 days later, we have Mount Sinai Revelation, Shavuot. 40 days, Moses goes to the mount to get the tablets. 40 days later, Moses is coming down from the mount, golden calf. Now he's asking for he's trying to get himself and the whole people to rise and to believe we have another opportunity. He gets another opportunity on the new moon of Rosh Chodesh of Elul. The golden calf is the 17th of Tammuz. Okay, 17th of Tammuz, which is summer, beginning of the summer. Then Rosh Chodesh Elul, Moses is going back to the mount for another 40 days. He's coming down on Yom Kippur, and a day later, he congregates everybody to give them the instructions. Why to give them the instructions? Because if there was no golden calf, there won't be death anymore. If there's no golden calf, the rise to Moses is coming down from the mount. Everybody comes to the land of Israel. The Messiah is coming with Moses and Joshua, and game over for all of humanity. However, that did not happen. So, now you have to reenact the rules with replanning the track of the journey ahead of us. Which means, till now, when you study, let's say somebody who ever studied chemistry, in order to study about the behavior of a gas, you learn first about ideal gas. What is ideal gas? It doesn't exist. But ideal gas is like, it's a hypothetic perfect gas that has hypothetic perfect formulas of behavior. When you understand that, you can, from there, extrapolate to other gases. Because each one of them has some anomalies from the ideal gas. So, let's go over here. Till Parashat Kitisa, before that, we had the instructions for ideal life. If everything works perfectly, then that's the tract. That's a journey. But now we had the failure, big one, the golden calf. And now life, society, Torah study, spirituality, they are not ideal. It's a game with two very strong forces playing in each one of us. One is the force of life, and one is the force of death. The force of death we thought we eliminated on Mount Sinai. However, with the golden calf, the force of death came back. Now we understand that it's going to take thousands of years to overcome death again. So the rules are coming over here. How do we make all of what we learn in Parashat Shmot, in the book of Shmot, the book of Exodus, how to make it practical? And that's why there's so much Zohar about it, because it's all inside, in between the lines. Okay, we're starting. So we are in Parashat VaYak'hel, the book of Exodus, chapter 35, verse 1. And it says, VaYak'hel Moshe et kol adat bnei Yisrael. And Moses congregated the whole congregation of the children of Israel. ויאמר עליהם אלה הדברים אשר ציווה השם לעשות אותם. And he says these are the things that Hashem ordered to do. And he starts with Shabbat. How many times already we have Shabbat? We have so many times. Why starting again with Shabbat? So let's start and see what the Zohar is telling us. Okay? About this, the meaning and what does it mean for on each one of us. Rashi says, "Vayakel Moshe lemacharat Yom Kippurim." Rashi, the great commentator from the 11th century, says the day after Yom Kippurim, the day that Moses came back from the mount, and Vayakel hu lashon hif'il, sheno osef aneshim vayadayim ela ne'esafim al pi diburo. He called the people to come together to congregate. Okay? That's it. But what is the Zohar saying about it? And the Zohar says something very, very important. And it's very important for us to understand. Okay. I'm reading in the Zohar of Perush HaSulam, with the Sulam commentary, verse 7. V'tachazi, come and see. Ma kativ bekadmita. What does it say in earlier? In Parashat Truma, about building the tabernacle, me'et kol ish asher yitvenu libo. From every person, whatever his heart will let him give. Okay? You collect all the contributions to the building of the tabernacle. La'achlala kula. That is to include everyone. Begin the VaYak'hel Pekudei mevad ovada de mashkena mikol sitrin. Because the Creator wanted that the Mishkan, the tabernacle, will be built from all sides. What do I mean from all sides? Bemocha uklipa. From the inner side, the pure, positive, clean side, and also from the outer shell. And we know every society, every person has those two sides. One is the good side, okay, and one is the dark side, what the Zohar calls sitra acha, the other side. Okay? Now, uvegin, dehavu inun erev rav begavayu. Since the Erev Rav who did the golden calf and brought the Israelite nation after them to make the golden calf, he wanted the Erev Rav to be included in the building of the tabernacle. To make everyone as one. The children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, The Egyptians, they joined them on the way out. Everybody is equal. Well, not exactly equal by its structure, but with a purpose. Why? Because when you create a society, it's made of all kinds of people. Some are better, some are less, but you need all of them, because without it, it is not a society. So, all of them were counted in, says the Zohar. However, but then, because of the golden calf, each one took a side. The Israelites took the side of Moses, and the Erev took the side of the golden calf. Miyad, VaYak'hel Moshe et kol adat bnei Israel. Immediately, what does it say? How the parasha, and Moses congregated all the children of Israel. He did not include the Erev. He separated. Okay. We have here two very important concepts. One concept says that when humanity reaches its completion, its tikkun, everybody will be counted in. Even the ones that considered to be evil. Why? Because the way they created the world is that the process of tikkun finally means that every part of the creation is necessary, including the dark side. What is the purpose of the whole tikkun? That the dark side will turn to become also part of the light side. Which means, what does it mean? Let me explain it. The dark side, in many religious beliefs, monotheistic or so-called pseudo-monotheist, they think that the dark side is an entity of itself. But if you read the beginning of the book of Job, it says there was a person by the name of Job. He was a righteous person. And by the next paragraph says, and there was the day, and all the children of God come to him, and Satan or Satan is amongst them. Why? He's counted in as also part of the creation. What's his job? So the Zohar says his job is, if we want to be creators, to be creator you need an obstacle. Because if everything happens just because you want it, without any effort, you're not a creator. Everything is given to you on a golden platter. That's not creation. You need to overcome disturbances. You need to overcome challenges. So the grand word for disturbances and challenges and hindrances and obstacles and stuff like this, in Hebrew there's one word for it, Satan. Satan in Hebrew means to disturb, to stand on the way, to stop, to delay. That's a verb that is called Satan. And there's a noun, the Satan, which is that force that delays. Why this force exists? It serves a purpose because by us overcoming, we can come back to our Father in heaven because we earn it. We earned it. We became what we wanted to become. We became co-creators. How? We paid the price. However, so when it says when we're talking on Mount Sinai Revelation, the time has come already to turn even the dark side in our nature into a positive one. You know, there are some people, they're very abrupt, very not polite, very too creative. They don't care for the rules, whatever. But the moment those people turn to the light, they have huge powers of creativity in the light. Which means the major thing in Judaism you have to remember, especially if you study the Ramchal, Rabbi Moshe Chaim Luzzatto, We are not supposed, and that is all over. It's in the Talmud. The job is not to remove the bad people. The purpose is to remove evil from people. Every person is supposed to transform to become positive. Okay? So when I look at someone and I know this person is half-baked, maybe he just started to be baked, but finally he's going to get there. Of course, I look at him as part of God's world. I don't look at him as, or anything in the creation. That's what the Zohar says. You have to be really careful. Whatever is part of the creation is supposed to be there. The question is it done already? Is it ready already? Can it become part of the whole, or it's not ready to become part of the whole? You know, in every big machine, there are many parts, and the parts they have to go through a special procedure till they're ready to be introduced and put inside the machine so they can function. Right? They're not functional already in the beginning. Right? If you make something from steel, you don't find shining parts, machine parts, in the mountains. Right? You have to dig. You find the metals. You have to purify them till you create the steel. It takes time until you create the exact right part for every part of a machine. That takes a process. As long as it's not ready, it cannot function as part of the machine. Here, after the sin of the golden calf, we are separating. Why? We have to reconsider the course of action. And what does that mean? Moses says if we want to create a perfect society, we have first of all to exclude the Erev Rav, and in the building of the tabernacle, only the children of Israel are going to be participants. What does that mean? We spoke a little bit about it before, but in Parashat Yitro. Rabbi Yanshlag explains, when he explains about how could a person become corrected. Because we all have incorrected self. Nobody is really perfect, okay, as we said. But in order for a person to correct himself, he cannot do it by himself. You can't just tell to yourself stuff all day long and tell yourself, I'm okay, I'm going to be okay, I'm getting okay, and so on. We know very well we need coaching. And who's our best coaches? That's our immediate environment. That's our community. That's why it says in Ethics of the Fathers that the most important choice a person must choose is who are the people that he's hanging with. You have to choose the people that can lift you up. Why? First of all, you have to save yourself. Then you take care of others. So you have to create a congregation. You have to create a congregation that will be your coaching team. That everybody, one for all, all for one. Everybody, it's like-minded people that are committed for spiritual growth. If you surround yourself with this kind of people, which he said, Rabbi Asher said in the beginning, you have to find people who are idealists and altruists and congregate only with these kind of people. Which means those are the only people that I really care that what they say. All the rest, I don't really care for what they say because they say it because of ego, because of interest, because, I don't need to care for what they say because I know it's not going to get me anywhere good. So I have to choose who are the people that I choose to be my coaches. My teachers, my coaches. You can't have just a teacher. It's never enough. Okay? Like Moses, he couldn't be everybody's teacher. He had to divide it into many, many working groups. Okay? So you have to really understand that, when people say everybody's equal and everybody's okay, no. People are not equal and people are not okay. Why? There was a golden calf. You have to be worried to have the wrong people involved with the most important process of your life, becoming the person you want to become, which means to manifest the person you're supposed to be. Okay? That's your job. Number one, you have, first of all, to focus on your goal. Everything else is trivial to the main goal. So these are the people that I really care for. So who are the people I'm hanging with? And who are the people that are my congregation? That's number one. Okay? So we'll see that the whole 2 parashot of VaYak'hel-Pekudei are giving instructions how to do it. And what is the first thing we said about VaYak'hel? Shabbat. Shabbat. What do I mean Shabbat? Why again Shabbat? We already heard about Shabbat last week's parasha. There were before that also about Shabbat. Why in Shabbat? Because Shabbat is crucial about it. Just think about what is Shabbat. Just from a non-religious point of view. Okay? Having a person as your congregant, part of your community, that is willing, really willing, to overcome all the addictions that most of us have, okay, to smartphones, the internet, technology, running around like crazy because I have to be in Europe, I have to be in America, I have to be in Singapore, I have to fly to Australia because I haven't been to, I just have to find something. No, Shabbat, you're not flying anywhere, you stay put. Just the commitment to something that is beyond your eyes, because, Shabbat enters before, Shabbat enters before sundown, correct? Did anybody see Shabbat coming in? Just to give up your addictions and stuff that gives you think so much pleasure for something that you cannot see, and then to be really excited about something that is the holiness of Shabbat, and it's nothing you can put in a box and sell it to someone. Nothing you can analyze with any medical or scientific device and show it to others. Just the fact that you are a congregate with these kind of people, you're already in a better place. Especially that connecting to Shabbat will give you the uplift that you need to overcome the daily Satan, the daily negativities, because on Shabbat, Satan is kind of, what can I say, is not so much welcomed, because the whole Shabbat you're busy with holiness. You're busy with praying, with eating, but food that is a congregation of spirituality, of study and singing for the creation and for the Creator and for Shabbat. It's a whole day that you are on a journey that is totally the opposite of what modern life is about. Right? So just that, you're in a better place than anybody else. Just from that place that people can't overcome the addictions, you don't want them as friends. Why? They're too weak. They fall again and again, like we do fall during the 6 days, but at least I can pull myself out of it and set myself free on Shabbat. What if the phone will be closed on Shabbat? What if somebody calls? That will wait. Today, people can't wait a second. They're doing something so important and then bang, the phone there's a cling, and you have to see what kind of a message come in. No, Shabbat, no phones, no internet, no driving, no traveling, no shopping, nothing of the sort. You are in the cocoon of light. This is a prerequisite. To be in a congregation of people that can really lift you up. Okay? That's number one. Now, you have also to understand that even people that are in Shabbat, they can also be, not everybody who, let's say, keep Shabbat or observe Shabbat, really observe Shabbat. He's just afraid of the punishment. But you see, when he's in the synagogue, he doesn't really pray. When he's with the meals, he's not really doing, he's not connecting to holiness. A person like this cannot be your friend. He can be your friend of a second circle. As the Zohar said, that's the klipa. You have to shop, you have to buy, you have your friend, you have neighbors. You can't just disassociate from them. But if the person cannot focus himself on the holiness of the light of Shabbat, that's a problem. That's a problem. He's not committed to fight the darkness. How can he help you fight the darkness yourself? I need friends that will help me heal because I'm not healthy. What do I mean I'm not healthy? I have all kinds of dark sides. Every person has. I can't do it by myself. I need to find companions for doing that. That's the first thing. And I have to understand not everybody is equal in the journey. Maybe now no, tomorrow yes. But that's the first thing is Shabbat. Okay? So now Parashat VaYak'hel is giving us the most adorable explanations about Shabbat that you can find anywhere in the Talmud, the Mishnah, whatever. If you want amazing stuff about Shabbat, that's in Parashat VaYak'hel in the Zohar. You read that, you learn that, you can't not fall in love with Shabbat. Okay? So it explains before Shabbat, after Shabbat, during Shabbat, how to, the hours before Shabbat, and then getting into Shabbat, and the light that is coming to Shabbat, and the extra soul you get on Shabbat, and the light that is being revealed during the Torah reading. And there's so much. The opening of the Ark, the reading of the Torah, all of these procedures, it's a whole course by itself. The prayers of Shabbat, the secrets of the Torah, and the secrets of the Havdalah, and the blessings of the Havdalah, the wine, the nails, all of that stuff. I'm not going to go into it. And before that, you have also the secrets of prayer. Because a person who doesn't pray regularly and that does not appreciate the prayer as a tool for spiritual journey and uplifting, it's also something that how are you going to lift yourself from the dirt of death, negativity, hatred, upset, victim, all kinds of negative emotions if you're not committing yourself to connect to the spiritual realm, which is studying, which is in Parashat VaYak'hel, which is praying, which is Shabbat. So that's why you have so much, and even the most special paragraphs that you have about Ma'u Shabbat. What is Shabbat? That the Zohar is giving us. Ela kshenichnas Shabbat, verse 175 in the Zohar, Sulam on Shabbat. Parashat VaYak'hel. As Shabbat comes in, does anybody see the Shabbat coming in? But you have to train yourself to feel that. And then you feel, it's different. There's an entity over here that overrides everything else. Okay? And if you don't feel that, you have to train yourself to feel that. And there's a voice calling all the heavens, all over the heavens. Hitaknu merkavot, hitaknu machanot. Get the chariots and the armies of angels. Prepare. And the lights. And there's a special garment of Shabbat coming to dress every person who really connects to Shabbat. Levush יקר של Shabbat. A precious garment of Shabbat. אז השולחנות שבני אדם אורחים בעולם הזה מתקנים בהיכל אחד. Then, it says, the tables that people prepare for Shabbat, white cloth, candles, challah, wine, everything beautiful, like a very important guest is coming. When you think that you prepare that table in your house, the Zohar says, no. This table is being prepared in one of the greatest palaces in the heavens. You think that it's in your house, the table? No, it's in heaven. You sit by the table of heaven, the Shabbat table that you prepare. Asher chelko, praiseworthy is the person that שהעריכת שולחנו נראה שם קרוי, that he sets his table properly, as much as he can. והכל נמצא מתוקן בלי בושה, and he sets it up without any shame. איש לפי כוחו, each one according to his abilities. You have to prepare yourself to Shabbat, not just the house. You have to wash yourself. You have to dress yourself with clothes that are special. You can't just wear stuff that you wore on the weekday. You have to wear clothes that are specially for Shabbat. You have to eat food that is made specially for Shabbat. And there's more and more to it. It's so magic, the way the Zohar describes the Shabbat. Why? If we want to stay safe and charged with enough positive energy to withstand all the turmoil outside, you can't without Shabbat. Of course, Shabbat is a time that you meet people. You meet your friends, you meet your congregation. That's where you feel congregation more than any time. Okay? That's all Shabbat. Planning the Shabbat together. Preparing the Shabbat together. Praying together. Eating together. Singing together. Learning together. That's what creates a congregation. Okay? So that's one important thing about Shabbat. About the new rules. Then you have, after Shabbat, then the Zohar speaks about all the heavens in Gan Eden. In the Garden of Eden. There are levels and levels and levels, and it's amazing stories about these levels and how they are connected and how a person can go up and up and up the levels when he's doing his spiritual work. Yes, there was a golden calf. Yes, there is death in this world. Yes, there is darkness. There are mistakes. People fall. Still, so much good is waiting for us. And that's all of this in Parashat VaYak'hel. A lot of stuff. But there's something very special in Parashat VaYak'hel. Especially nowadays. We read it last week about the incense. But the most important explanation about the incense is in Parashat VaYak'hel. And it says, the incense was created in order to remove the dark side. There's nothing stronger to remove the dark side than the incense. However, we know we cannot make the incense. We don't even know the secret of how to make the incense. So how would that help me? So the Zohar says exactly. It says the dark side cannot rule when the incense is around. And that's why verse 473. מה כתוב בארון? What does it say about Aaron? ויעמוד בין המתים ובין החיים, ותעצר המגפה. Aaron took the incense, he ran into the people, and he stood between the dead ones and the living ones. And that moment, the plague stopped. Is that relevant to our days? That moment, the plague stopped. כי אסר ותעצר המגפה. And the plague stopped. כי אסר את מלאך המוות. Because by Aaron bringing the incense, he put the angel of death into custody. Okay? עד שלא יכול לשלוט כלל, till the angel of death has no rule whatsoever. ולא לעשות דין, סימן זה נמצא בינינו. So we have that special thing that we know given to us. שבכל מקום שאומרים בכוונה ובצון הלב מעשה הקטורת. Every place. But we don't have the incense. Just say that part of the incense that you can find in the morning prayer, just the early part of the morning prayer, you find the incense. Just say that every day. Wherever you say, with intention, with kavanah, with meditation, and with desire and excitement, the story of the incense. Death cannot rule in that place. And no one can be harmed. And other nations cannot rule and take over and destroy. Anything of destruction. Verse 475. Whoever feels that judgment is after him, that disasters on a private level, the individual level, he needs the incense. And to repent. What means to repent? In Hebrew, lashuv, you have to remember, you have to get back to connect yourself to the light of the Creator. That's your normal state. This connection is not a normal state. So the incense and reminding yourself to connect back to the light of the Creator. Doing that will get the judgment away from your life. Because the incense is a help to remove the judgment from the person. And for sure, the judgment will go away if you just make sure you read the incense and you go back to the light. You just reconnect your consciousness to the light. Twice a day, morning and evening. Evening, it means before sunset. In mincha time. קטורת שמים בבוקר, וכתוב בין הערביים יקטירנה, twilight and in the morning. וזהו קיום העולם תמיד, and that will hold the world not to fall apart. Because the incense has the power. We don't know yet how to make the incense, but by reading about the incense, we make it happen. So, like we had last week, all the special tricks against plagues, it continues this week too, because we still need it, right? So that's the story of the incense, and if you have the Zohar, read the Zohar about the incense every day, you'll have both help from here and from here, because the Zohar, it says also in the Zohar, in Parashat Ba'alotcha, that in our generation, the Zohar will be like the Noah's Ark. Don't go out without the Zohar. Don't hang out without the Zohar. Have a Zohar in your house. Read the Zohar, even if you don't understand, because you create Noah's Ark for yourself and for your family. Now, we covered very shortly about Parashat VaYak'hel, now about Parashat Pekudei. Parashat Pekudei also starts, like VaYak'hel, that starts with something different. Parashat Pekudei also starts with something different. Okay? When in the book of Exodus chapter 38, verse 21. אלף פקודי המשכן, משכן העדות. אלף פקודי המשכן, these are the count, like Pekudei, the word Pekudei has few meanings. One of them is to bring into account. Lifkod. So this is the accounting of the Mishkan. What does it mean? Moses is giving an exact account what happened with every gram of silver, gold, copper, metals, or any precious embroidery, whatever, what was done with all the contributions. Okay? Which is kind of, why does he say so? So the Zohar is saying, like, are we suspecting Moses? Moses he's like nobody, God told us so many times, he's beyond suspicion. He's Moses. Remember we spoke about congregation? Never ever give anyone full control over your congregation. Why? Because power corrupts. Even Moses, who was the person, the individual that reached the highest level in the history of mankind needs to answer for checks and balances. Everything has to be transparent. Why? Because human beings, they fall. The moment you hold someone beyond checks and balances, it's just a matter of time till he fails. This is everywhere. We know that that's what humans do. Being a congregation means that everybody's watching everybody else. No. Are you judging people? No, we're not judging. But we have to judge. We need to have healthy judgment about what's right and what's wrong. Giving the power, all of it, to one person or his wife, or to, it doesn't matter, to the CEO, the rabbi of the congregation. They have the power to decide. They have the power over the money. And there's no transparency. It's bad news. Bad news. And Moses is giving an example. Me, I am Moses. I reach a place nobody ever reached before. And I'm making it all transparent. I'm giving the checks and balances. Everybody has to know in a given time what's going on with the money, with the decisions. It has to be open. If it's not, the nicest community with the greatest ideas, whoever did, I once read the research about all of these amazing communes that sprouted in the mountains in New Jersey or in California during the 60s, just love and so on, and sooner or later, because nobody was judging, somebody took over and created a nightmare out of these communities. They took all the power to themselves. No one can be allowed to do that because it's irresponsibility for the congregation to give, we trust you, you'll take care of it. We know you're going to be okay. He's not going to be okay. Are you judging him? We're not judging him. We're just setting the rules. You have to have in your command whatever is happening in the community. And you are the one who has to take responsibility. No, it's not my responsibility. We handed over the responsibility to the Gabbai, to the Rabbi. Big mistake. Big mistake. Okay? כאשר נעשתה מלאכת המשכן, so I'm reading the Zohar. היה משה צריך למנות את הכל. Moses had to count everything. All the silver and the gold and everything that was taken as a contribution. כדי שלא יאמרו ישראל שנשארו כסף וזהב ומשה אל עמם. So there won't be a place that someone can say Moses or others, and the artists, somebody took it away. That's called Marit Ain. Marit Ain is a very important rule in Judaism. The moment you're not transparent, people can start having suspicion. Whose fault is it? Yours. Because you were not transparent. People are people, and people make mistakes. Suspecting somebody, it could be a mistake. But the moment you are not transparent, you bring people to fail. They see stuff, and people think, what can we do? They think. And not everybody can overcome his suspicion. And you know what? They're not supposed to. You have to make it transparent. You live part of a community that is not transparent, get away, find something else. Okay? You won't notice when everything starts to corrupt itself. על כן היה צריך למנות ולעשות חשבון לפני ישראל. That's why everything had to be counted in front of the whole nation. לפי שנאמר, והייתם נקיים מהשם ומישראל. And what does it say? Very simple verse. Very simple words. And you will be clean in front of the Hashem and Israel. Yeah, I know that I'm okay, but the people, I don't care about the people. I know that between me and God, I'm okay. Not enough. It has to be between you and the people that gave you the power. Okay? Now, we have some other stuff in the parasha that I would like to get in just to finalize it. The same way we have all the description in Parashat VaYak'hel of how great is the universe we live in and how many levels of spirituality a person can ascend to with his prayers, with his hard work, with his spirituality, with the support of his congregation and friends, and so on and so forth. In Parashat Pekudei, you have also about the other side. That you have to be lefaked. Lefaked means to command. Pakid is an officer in Hebrew, which means somebody in command. Somebody who is in charge. Right? So there are many articles like this in the Zohar about what all the tricks of how to overcome negativity, how to realize negativity is inside you and outside you, and you have to be aware of it. And you can't say, but I believe in God and I'm okay, I'm honest. Nothing can happen to me because, no. There is negativity around us. There are negative people. There are negative actions. If you're not aware of what's right and what's wrong, what is light and what is dark, you're going to fall. And you have to be aware, not afraid, but aware. Okay, and you can't go and say everything is okay. If he says it's okay, it's okay. If you can say that you can trust me, you can trust me. No. You have to create a system of awareness, because if you don't know if it's broken, you can fix it. If you don't know it's poisoning, you can die from eating it. So, the awareness. So here we have there's a whole long essay in the Zohar, which is starting in Zohar Parashat Pekudei, verse 425. In a Sulam, the 6 levels of the dark side. The 6 levels of the other side. And I just want to go into, I don't want to go into magic. I want to go to what the Zohar says about the practical side. Because it's not magic, it's very practical. Everybody gets it. How do you know? And it says like this. I'm skipping some parts. He speaks about 7 layers, 7 levels that inside the darkness. Okay? How is it connected to us? It's like that darkness, when it comes to earth, when it comes to our reality, it comes like a cloud. You know, there's light and there's cloud, but not cloud of water, but a cloud of fumes, smoke. And it says, the color of that smoke, זה יורד לעולם מובא בכמה בחינות. Verse 436. וזה מתפשט בעולם. It spreads around the world. הוא מסית רוחות בני אדם, and it turns the spirits or the souls of people to the wrong place. How? First of all, brings them into anger. Where is anger coming? It's when people connect to that smoke. להטות דרכם שיתקפו בכעסם. And what does the smoke of anger does? It's an energy that is called smoke. Why smoke? What happens to the brain of a person when he's angry? It's like everything becomes like blurred with smoke. You can't see. The reality, the fact will be in front of you, won't be able to see it. Why? You're angry. When you allow the anger to come in, you bring in that smoke and you can't see anymore. Oh, you do see stuff, but you don't see it properly. So you jump to conclusions that finally are not serving your interest in life. And what do? It takes people astray from their path. And because now they're busy to get stronger with what? With the rage, with the anger. ועל כן כתוב, that's why it says, לא יהיה בך אל זר ולא תשתחווה לנכר. That's why it says, you should not have a foreign god. What's a foreign god? Oh, It's homemade, don't worry. Psalms 81. What's a foreign god? Anger. Idol worshipping today, you don't need to bow to a statue. You simply need to bow to the god of anger. Yeah, but I have to take revenge. That's idol worshipping. Where is this energy? And it gives people power and energy and conviction. It's the smokes that are coming from the dark side. But if I'm not angry, I'm not... Nobody is smarter when he's angry. Even if you're stronger when you're angry, that strength doesn't go to constructive direction. ולא תשתחווה לעיניך, and do not bow down to a foreign god. That anger has two sides, male and female. And that's about the smoke, which is the... Now you understand. Anger is smoke because it makes your consciousness veiled. נכנס בתוך בני אדם ומתקיף אותם לזיקם, and what the result? It damages people. Nobody can get angry on an ongoing basis without being damaged. גוון האש הזה יורד לעולם ובא בכמה בחינות, and now is the fire of that smoke. And that comes down from different aspects. להזיק, to hurt, להרוג, to kill, לשפוך דם, to spill blood, להביא בני אדם, to destroy people. ועל זה כתוב, about this it says, אם יאמרו לך איתנו נערבה לדם, נצפנה לנקי חינם. There's a verse about it. That's from Proverbs chapter 1. If somebody comes to you and says, let's go and rob people, make money out of it, whatever, like this is the kind of dark. Where is it coming from? These smokes. Which means, remember, it's not coming from evil people. It's coming from people that let that smoke in. And that smoke made their consciousness sick, weird. Because finally, you can't get anything good coming out of it. So what do you do? What do you have to do? To destroy the people or to remove that smoke? Remove the smoke. People were created to be finally heavenly creatures. The smoke is what we have to fight. So we have the ones who spilled blood and kill in the war, to kill each other, and there are two sides to it. The desire to kill, the desire to do injustice that come from the male side of the dark side. And the female side, that's really the killing and the wars. And then comes a dark color, black. When that comes to this world, that's for the wounded people, for the dead people, and people being captured in captivity. Sickness is one of them. Why? When a person is bedridden, he's in captivity. He can't do whatever he wanted. He's like, he's now having a warrant. Okay? You judge to can't get out. And that again, it all comes down to anger. It's all about anger. It's all about upset. It goes into people's bodies, and then all those hurting colors, they drive the person with anger, with excitement of anger, and that's the first stage. So he goes on explaining that anger and different levels of anger, but the first thing a person has to learn, don't let those smokes to come in. Why? There are 7 layers, and each one is worse than the other. You have to remember, if you want to be the person of light, a free person, you have to watch it the most. And as we said before, when we are surrounded with people that are committed to spirituality, and something happens that upsets us, how do we react? We'll react differently. It's like, even if we react, it will be calmed down because people will look at us and wait, no. They're going, what happened to you? Are you allowing that idol worship coming into your heart, into your holy heart? The moment you know that people around you, that's how they look at you, instead of like, how dare you getting crazy and getting upset, you're destroying everything for all of us. What's the difference? That's also anger. Negative and negative becomes a bigger negative. Whoever has a minus in the bank, minus and minus doesn't become plus. Right? Not on that side. So, the calling over here is very powerful of this parashot. It's about how we have to take the command, even though I have all the reasons in the world to be upset. Just to close with it. I grew up with the people that raised me, my parents, their friends, their cousins and brothers and whatever, all of them were Holocaust survivors. All of them saw the worst atrocities that were ever done in the history of mankind. They were not angry people. They were happy people. They were creative people. Because they made a choice. We can be angry about the Nazis and the Germans and the Polish and the Ukrainians and all the ones who participated in this big crime in the history of mankind. But if we get angry, we are still their victims. The only way to take revenge is to be happy, to create happy life. It's not about forgiveness. It's about focusing on what you want and not allowing the clouds of smoke to come and kill you and that therefore make you a victim forever after. As a kid, I was watching them partying, celebrating, happy, together, knowing the terrible stories each one of them went through. The camps, the concentration camps, losing their parents, going through terrible places and terrible events for years. And all of them were like in their early teens when the war started. Like losing your childhood, your whatever is precious for a human being. And I was looking at them as a kid and saying, like, I was admiring them. For me, they're the biggest heroes. They chose to live. They chose to command over their heart that there is no place for anger. No place for any kind of smokes of darkness. Otherwise, you're still a victim. You're still part of the atrocity yourself. This is Pekudei. Take command. Thank you. And good luck for all of us.